Hello, everyone. Good morning. Sorry if my voice sounds a little groggy. It's because I just woke up. But here is the Scorpio Champions Meet overview. Apologies, I didn't do a pace chaser overview for Libra Cup because I was running practice races and pretty much Gold Chip was winning about 75% of the time. And I was like, I'm just done with this CM. So I'm going into Libra Cup with just the ones that can have the minimum stats, and we're going to see how it goes. But the Scorpio Cup is a lot more fun. You can run pretty much any UMA you want, and let's get into it. So today I'll be going through the overview throughout the next couple of days, probably get out the pace chaser, end closer, and late surger guides. But it shouldn't take me as long this time as the other ones, and it's a lot more fun CM to run than the other ones, so I should have a little bit more motivation. But Scorpio Cup is a pretty standard cup. The biggest difference is we are on left-handed and it's a rainy day. So this is the first CM where we had a rainy day, and other than that, the everything else is pretty much normal. So your green skills are here, and we're gonna move on. This is the original bulletin, Japanese bulletin from the primer. The major two things to note is the timing of certain ultimates. Angling and scheming is right in the middle of the final spurt, or rather of the acceleration zone, I should say, the start of last spurt. And Let's Pump Some Iron is the same way. But inherited redshift is going to be a little bit too early. The second thing to note is that position keep happens throughout the first two corners, the first and second corner. So corner skills are going to be a little bit gambly in whether or not they actually give you position, because if you proc a corner skill and pace keep, you have the chance of essentially pace downing and having it not be as effective. So corner skills are a little bit gambly, but other than that, it's pretty standard, let's say. So I wanted to go through the stat requirements in a little bit different way this time. I wanted to give you guys the base values as well, just to have you guys be able to start learning the calculations on your own. But every single track has a base requirement, which is the base stamina value that's required to complete the distance with all the uphills and the downhills, etc. And that's, in this case, runner is 790, and then pace chaser's 890 because they have the 11% debuff. But these values, I should say, are all calculated with 300 guts. So this was back before guts was really important, so they assumed that you were dumping guts. Most people are going to want to get a gold recovery on their UMA, at least one, probably exactly one, I would say, and that is because it is a lot easier to hit 612 than it is 800, but there's a couple more modifiers you have to consider, and this is the reason why 800 plus a single gold is the medium standard, I would say, and that's for this reason. So let's just say you are a late surger, so 666 stamina is your base. We are on a rainy track, which means that we have a power debuff, which doesn't matter that much for stamina, but we are also soft, which means we have a guts debuff, and the guts debuff increases your stamina drain rate when you're going throughout the race. So it's effectively about a 50 stamina increase that you need over it. So right now we're at about 700, let's say. And also it is a medium course, so you have nice nature debuffers, stamina debuffers, and you generally want to add between 100 and 150 stamina for nice natures. If you want to be super safe, you can add 200, just because you'll get two nice nature debuffers essentially getting hit by both barrages. What can you do? So you're not going to survive a double nice nature full set of debuffs, but they're also not going to hit you every time in the perfect timing. So generally I suggest roughly 800 stamina plus a gold skill for this race. The only other thing to note is every single course has a certain speed buff requirement. Unless it doesn't, this is one of the few that doesn't actually have any speed buffs. There's no 901. So I've amended from my previous video, which I had to take down because I just was looking at the wrong course. You need to max your speed. There's really not much. You don't have to max it, but you have to get very close to 1200. You should be aiming for 1200. Your minimum stamina requirements is 800 plus the gold recovery, and then for the rest of your stats, you're just trying to really get as high as possible. You can go and add some wit for consistency, as well as your Uma getting into position battles more, which should help them in the final spurt. You can also get more power for your acceleration phase. This is really nice on gamblers mainly, because your less pump some iron plus extra power is how you're going to get back up to the pack after you've fallen back at the start of the race from the position keep. And I do think that you should have a decent amount of guts this time, because there's going to be a lot of position battles, because the speed differential between the four styles is not very different from each other. So you're going to have a lot of duels this time. So this would be my suggested minimum stats. Again, you're going to find you have a lot of extra points here. You can either use it to get more skill points by racing, or you can go and pump power. That's what I like doing. I like to pump power up to 1100 or so. You could also go and run double wit decks. Those are pretty comfy, and pump your wit up to 800 as well. If you're a front runner, obviously you need a lot more wit than the rest of the races, so you need like 600 wit, and then your power is not important. That's pretty standard for pretty much all courses. But here's your base stat requirements, and we're going to go into our inherits. I'm not a front runner main. Secretary is mostly that, but at least from the simulator and emulator, angling and scheming definitely should work. And you have a gambit option of running red ace, which is Daiwa's ultimate, or just an additional small boost of a positioning skill for Measure McQueen. Redshift does not work because you are looking for the final corner. The final corner happens here at section 4, and how to read these maps is essentially this little double arrow symbol as the start of the acceleration phase. It's the spurt. And so if you proc it right here, Marozensky herself works because it is a 4-second duration. So you can imagine it's about 2 seconds for 100 meters here. And so it does last through the acceleration phase. But when you are inheriting it, it drops down to a 2.4 second duration. So it's unable to meet it into the spurt acceleration zone. So Marozensky, as far as simulators and from my test, it doesn't work. But we shall see. I guess the verdict's a little out on it, but I don't believe it should work. For Pace Chaser, also the number one is going to be Taiki Shuttle, and the reason being is just perfect timing, and it's the strongest acceleration available for the style. Taiki Shuttle, man, it just hurt. If you run Taiki Shuttle herself, it is insane, and pretty much any other when the Pace Chaser being able to have it, it's almost required to have a Taiki Shuttle parent. So use your borrows on Taiki Shuttle. Some other options. Meisho Dodo gives a relatively consistent gamble. It's about 80% of the time it works fine, and it gives you about a length or two. And then the other ones are below them. You got Measure McQueen and Fantasy Condor Pasa. Those two just give small little boosts as well. But Meisho Doto, Taiki Shuttle, those would be the two for paces I would inherit for sure on my Umas. For Pace Chaser, for the backliners, the late surgers, and the end closers, Measure Orion's Pump Some Iron. That's going to be the number one. And if you want a consistent option, you go Meisho Doto as the second one, or pretty much any other ultimate that is a mid-race speed skill. But there is the option of going Taiki Shuttle, and it's a little bit of even more gambling, because what Taiki Shuttle does is Taiki's, I'm going to actually look it up again so I make sure that I get this right, so bear with me. But Taiki Shuttle's ultimate, and I have it on all of my gamblers here. So let me just look over to Game Torah here, because I can't remember if it's 5th place or 4th place. So, characters, Taiki. Just a moment. It is the later half of the final corner is the reason why it works. So here's Game Torah, later half of the final corner. So this later half of the final quarter with order rate of 40%. So 40% on a 9-person rate is 9-person race times 0.4. They round up, so you have to be in 4th or better this time. So you get into 4th place and you shoot forward. But the problem with this is that you have a very tight window, because you have Pump Some Iron, which usually gets you to the pack, and then about 10 to 30 meters later, you're going to have the later half of the corner. So you see the corner starts here and it ends here, so it's roughly right here. So you have about this much time to go from 6th into 4th. However, if you hit both, you simply pretty much win the race. It's more acceleration than any other like combination in the game. So it's a mega gamble route. It does work sometimes, but again, you're hoping for a very clustered pack, perhaps one without many front runners, which may be rare this CM. But honestly, freaking these CMs I've seen so many different comps, and knowing the casual Uma Musume audience and the casual Uma Musume playing CM things, especially day one, you're going to see a lot of nice nature debuffers, which are going to be late surgers that you're going to be passing. So this really just gives you a second option if you just don't happen to be in 6th place and you happen to be a little bit forward. But definitely get your mid-race positioning skills if you're trying to go this combo, because you need to make sure your late surger is not too far behind. Meisho Doto, she is not released yet, so no one has any actual info on it. But hypothetically, this time she has the same timing as Red Shift, which is Marzensky's ult. So it should fail for the same reason, in that she is looking for the phase 2 last corner. So phase 2 is this dark blue area. Last corner is the 4 right here. And it just should happen slightly too early because the duration is 2.4 meters. So I believe she shouldn't work, but again, wait until she's out. She'll be very good, I believe, on the next one or the one after, and you'll basically just, late surgers will be free. You just put both accelerations on, and if you hit them, you win. Okay. Question being, will we see Oguri Christmas? Knowing Cygames, yes, we will, right before the final. So the timing is as follows: December 28th, 3 days of registration to get you to the first. Day 1, 2 on the 1st and 2nd, and then the second day. Day 1, 2 on the 1st and 2nd, and then the second set, which is A or B semis, is going to be on the 3rd and the 4th. Remember, this happens at night, so these happen in the day, and this happens at the night. So, 5 o'clock and 10 o'clock normally is what they do. So we're going to see Oguri Cap midway through the second day of the what's it called? Of the CM. Midway through the second day of the second set of the CM. So your finals are going to possibly have a Oguri Cap Christmas, which is going to be tough to deal with. Notably, I'm just going back a slide here. Notably, 777, which is the standard triple recovery bit. So normally for Oguri Cap Christmas, you want to spend the 2 recoveries here and then have 777 trigger your recovery, right? So that the acceleration happens here. This is technically slightly too early. It has the same timing as Marzensky's timing in this case, because 777's on the thing, but it lasts for 4 seconds, which means you do get some value. So it is not as strong as Oguri Cap's total potential, but it is still going to be absolutely busted, and if you just hit it, it's unfortunate. So we will see Oguri Christmas in the latter half. This Oshi Cup, this is the Oshi Cup. So you've finally been waiting for a CM that you can run any Uma you want in pretty much any style. End closers are a little bit tough to build, but they are still viable. This is going to be a slightly front dominated CM, so angling and scheming should be good, but it is honestly a rock, paper, scissors thing. So if there's a runaway, the fronts are going to struggle, and then the paces are going to be better. If there's no runaway, then the fronts are going to be good and the paces are going to struggle, and the late surgers, we're just sitting here and being like, yo, if we're in 6, we have a chance. So build any Uma you want. Build your most favorite Uma to train. Build your favorite Uma. This is the one you can actually just, this isn't Libra Cup, you can just run them. Enjoy the CM and good luck. I'll try to get the guides out. Sorry if this is a little rambly. Did this kind of last minute because I messed up my first video. So all right, well, I'll try to get that Pace Chaser guide out soon. Y'all take care. Burbout.